Hello everybody, welcome to the Ephrom Show. I'm your host, the one and only Ephrom. And it's the first time I'm actually using OBS with the laptop. You guys know I've been changing the scenery for a while. I'm recording in a different location than I have been for the past 1,000 plus videos. Oh my god, I can't believe I've been doing it for this long. But anyway, the entire UN was not a particular fan of Donald Trump's deal to make Jerusalem the undivided capital of Israel. Jake Tapper, the guy on CNN, had some thoughts about this, and to make it short, I hate Jake Tapper. Let's just watch. I'll pause when I have something to say, and I'll have quite a bit to say.
Remember yesterday how United States Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley said the U.S. would be taking names of countries that supported a resolution critical of the Trump administration's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital? Well, let's hope Haley brought a lot of pens and paper, because 128 countries voted against the United States today.
Okay, remember that. 128 voted against the United States and Israel, and 35 abstained. Okay? Now, I want you to remember 128, that's a lot of countries. And what countries does Jake Tapper have there? Oh, that's the British flag. Britain has some pretty good human rights records. They're not perfect, of course. Tony Blair helped with Iraq. Oh, France, they've also got a pretty good track record of human rights. They're actually one of the U.S.'s strongest allies. So tell me, Jake, are you going to mention either of those? And as for the countries that abstained, oh, that's the Canadian flag. Canada, I'd argue, has a better human rights record than us. And I think that's the Mexican flag? Mexico, okay. Not exactly the best country to put up. I'll give you that, Jake Tapper. It has some issues. But, 3 out of 4 of those countries are pretty good places.
Of them U.S. allies. Only 9 countries voted with the U.S. There were 35 abstentions. Among the 128 countries that voted to condemn the U.S. on this issue were some countries with some rather questionable records of their own.
Wait. No, let's look at the graph Jake Tapper just put up. Okay, United Kingdom, good human rights record. France, good human rights record. Now, let's see what Jake Tapper lists as countries that apparently voted with it. Because 128 is a lot of countries. I'm not denying a few did that have bad human rights records, but you know what? Let's watch.
Venezuela's representative today.
The world is not for sale. The world is not for sale, and your threats imperil global peace.
The U.S. imperils global peace, says the representative of Venezuela, a country in a humanitarian disaster, with violence in the streets, an economy in complete collapse, citizens malnourished, dying children being turned away from hospitals, starving families joining street gangs to scrounge for food. On what more?
Okay, so Jake, I assume you work for CNN. You're supposedly the least biased news. I heard that all my whole life. I've been hearing that my entire life, that CNN is the least biased news network, but it's the most incompetent news network. So Jake, are you going to mention some of the countries that voted with the U.S., like the U.S. itself? And how the United States killed 1 million Vietnamese children during the Vietnam War. Are you going to mention how, I don't know, we just killed 1,000 children, or 200,000 innocent Iraqis minimum? The actual number's over 1 million, by the way. The actual average estimates I've seen is over 1 million. Are you going to mention that, Jake Tapper? Of course not, because this whataboutism only works when it favors the U.S. It's never the other way around.
Moral platform does the government of Venezuela stand today? Not to be outdone, of course, the U.S. also got an earful today from Syria.
Wait, Syria? The U.S. has been intervening with Syria. We've been dropping bombs on Syria. We're the issue in Syria. Not, I repeat, not them. Now, don't get me wrong. Syria has tons of problems. They are still a Wahhabi state. They're still in the Middle East. They still have tons of issues. However, Syria is not by any means the worst nation in the Middle East. Or for that matter, is even the biggest threat to itself. You know the biggest threat to Syria is? The United States. I've pointed out again and again.
We're in the 7th year of the brutal Syrian civil war that has killed 500,000 people and displaced millions. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has used chemical weapons against his own citizens, including children. Also feeling a bit preachy today, Yemen, which helped draft the resolution.
Yemen! Oh boy, let's talk about Yemen. So Yemen is currently the poorest country in the world, as far as I believe they are. Yemen's main problem comes from the fact that Saudi Arabia, who we back, blockaded them. And as such, they've also been dropping legitimate WMDs on them. Let's not forget that, Jake. But you're going to ignore that. Because that's what you've done. That's not the first time you've done that, by the way.
Condemning the U.S., seemingly more focused, at least during the speech, on where the U.S. puts its embassy in Israel than on the 7 million Yemenis on the brink of starvation.
Well, maybe if Saudi Arabia stopped their blockade, they wouldn't be on the brink of starvation.
In that country's civil war.
In light of the sensitive circumstances that our region is experiencing and which constitute a threat to international peace and security.
Yemen, concerned with stability in the region. Interesting. There are plenty of policies and actions that are perfectly valid to criticize about the United States and about Israel, and certainly whether this is...
Well, then why don't you do it, Jake? Why don't you? No, seriously, Jake Tapper does not actually criticize the United States or Israel very often. But he refuses to do such a thing, but fine, let's continue on. And this is where Jake Tapper's most disgusting lie comes in. Because he actually thinks he figures out why so many people hate Israel. Is it because they've been committing illegal settlements, taking Palestinian land since 1967? Not according to Jake Tapper.
Move will help the peace process in any way seems one of them. But listening to these countries, including North Korea and Myanmar and Turkey and China...
And the UK and France. For that matter, you don't tell us how Switzerland voted. They have a good human rights record. You don't tell us how Norway voted. They have a great human rights record. You don't tell us how Denmark voted. They have a great human rights record. How did those countries vote, Jake? I genuinely don't know. You did not tell me. You think that if those great examples of human rights would have voted in favor of this, or would have voted with the United States, Jake Tapper would have been saying they're going, actual democratic countries agree with this. But he doesn't do that. It's interesting. Let me tell you something, Jake. What you don't say can be just as interesting as what you do from time to time.
Lecturing the United States in any way about human rights and peace might seem a bit much, but here is a bit of context that you might not know. According to UN Watch, which monitors the United Nations General Assembly from 2012 through 2015 has adopted 97 resolutions specifically criticizing an individual country. And of those 97, 83 of them have focused on Israel.
Okay. What Jake Tapper doesn't tell you is that there are two branches of the UN, essentially. The General Assembly can't do anything. He just waves his finger. The actual UN Defense Council, the one that can do something, has not adopted an anti-Israel resolution since 2002. Think about that. Is Jake Tapper going to say they haven't even tried since 2002? In 2002. Wow. My God, I don't even know at this point. And Jake Tapper thinks he knows why.
That is 86%. Now, certainly Israel is not above criticism, but considering the genocide of the Rohingya people in Myanmar, The lack of basic human rights in North Korea, the children starving in the streets of Venezuela, the citizens of Syria targeted for murder by their own leader using the most grotesque and painful of weapons. You have to ask, is Israel truly deserving of 86% of the world's condemnation? Or possibly is something else afoot at the United Nations, something that allows the representative of the Assad government to lecture the United States for moving its embassy?
He's implying anti-Semitism. He's implying that if you don't like Netanyahu, or if you don't like settlements, you are simply anti-Semitic. That's what he's clearly implying. Just wow. And Jake Tapper did so through lies and distortion.